there, welcome to News from Nepal Television. I'm Smithu Gising Tamang. Let's begin with the top stories for this afternoon. Ruling Coalition's Task Force holding its meet this afternoon to discuss allocation of electoral seats for November 20 elections. Election Commission clarifies citizens reaching 18 years by November 19 can vote in upcoming elections. Those not registered in voters list, however, will be barred. Russia vows to expand bilateral relations with North Korea. Putin says the move would be in interests of both countries. And Pablo Carreño Busta rallies from a set-down to claim his first Canadian Open title. Simona Halep beats Haddad Maia to win third title. Welcome back. Now the news in detail. The meeting of the Seat Allocation Task Force formed by the ruling five-party coalition is being held this afternoon. The meeting is slated to discuss the allocation of electoral seats among the five ruling partners for the November 20 elections to the House of Representatives and Provincial Assembly. Coordinated by Nepali Congress leader Krishna Prasad Satola, the task force comprises 2 members from each party of the ruling coalition. The previous meeting of the task force discussed the modalities of allotment of seats. The five-party also has directed the task force to submit its report on seat allocation at the soonest. Nepali Congress is kicking off a special training today for the people's representatives elected from the party at the local level. According to party headquarters, Central Policy Research and Training Academy under Nepali Congress will impart the training. Party Chief Secretary Krishna Prasad Paudel informed that Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba, who is also the party president, will inaugurate the training program at the Heritage Garden in Lalitpur. It is said that the training will focus on local government operations and other issues. Congress has won in 329 out of 753 local levels in the last local elections. Election Commission has made it clear that the citizens are reaching 18 years by November 19 and those registering their names in the voters list by August 4 this year can exercise their franchise in Provincial Assembly and federal elections on November 20. The Commission clarified that there is a legal provision that those reaching 18 by November 19 this year and registered in the voter list could also cast the vote. However, those not registered even in the last voters list will be barred from casting their votes. There were over 17.73 million voters registered at the Commission for the last May 13 local level election. Meanwhile, the Election Commission has asked the international organizations interested in conducting the election observation activities in November 20 polls to submit applications within the next 15 days. The Commission informed the interested organizations can submit application via Election Observation Management System. The Commission also informed Election Observation Directive has already been endorsed and brought into implementation to make the election observation effective. Time for a break now. We shall be back with more updates. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with English News on Nepal Television. Now the international update. Russia has vowed to expand its comprehensive and constructive bilateral relations with North Korea, said its President Vladimir Putin. In a letter sent to his counterpart Kim Jong-un on Pyongyang's Liberation Day, Putin said the move would be in both countries' interests. In turn, Kim said friendship between both nations had been forged in World War II with victory over Japan. He added that their camaraderie friendship would grow stronger. According to a report by North Korean state media outlet KCNA, Putin said the expanded bilateral relations would conform with the interests of the two countries. In the meantime, South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has offered audacious economic assistance to North Korea if it abandons its nuclear weapons program. Yoon avoided harsh criticism of his northern neighbor days after the North threatened deadly retaliation over COVID-19 outbreak it blames on the South. He also called for better ties with former colonial overlord Japan, describing the two countries as partners and navigating challenges to the freedom of global citizens. The two countries' shared values will help them overcome historical grievances linked to Japan's brutal rule of the Korean Peninsula before World War II, Yoon said. Yoon's televised speech marking a holiday celebrating Korea's liberation from Japan came days after North Korea claimed a widely disputed victory over COVID-19. The North also blamed rival South Korea for the outbreak, vowing deadly retaliation. Malaysia's top court Monday began hearing a final appeal by former Prime Minister Najib Razak to toss out his graft conviction linked to the massive looting of the 1MDB state fund. He would become Malaysia's first former Prime Minister to be imprisoned if his case fails. Najib, of age 69, has reiterated his innocence and has been out on bail pending his appeals. He was sentenced to 12 years in jail by a high court in 2020 after being found guilty of abuse of power, criminal breach of trust, and money laundering for illegally receiving 42 million ringgit, which is $9.4 million, from SRC International, a former unit of 1MDB. The Court of Appeal upheld the conviction and sentence in December, describing the case as a national embarrassment. 1MDB was a development fund Najib set up shortly after taking power in 2009. Investigators allege at least $4.5 billion was stolen from the fund and laundered by Najib's associates. The scandal sparked investigations in the U.S. and several other countries and caused the downfall of Najib's government in 2018 elections. Time again for a short break. We shall see you at the other side with more updates. Welcome back. More from Global Front. China's trade in goods was valued at $564 billion in July, up 16.6% year on year, 2.3 percentage points higher than the previous month, data from the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) showed on Monday. Fu Lingui, a NBS spokesman, said at a press conference on Monday that China's foreign trade maintained a rapid growth in July and the trade structure continued to improve. More specifically, the total exports of goods were worth $333 billion in July, up 23.9% year on year, while the imports valued at $232 billion, up 7.4% year on year. The trade surplus in July reached $101 billion. The NBS data also showed that from January to July, the total trade in goods reached $3.5 trillion, up 10.4% year on year. An Australian man was charged with 3 weapons offences Monday after he allegedly fired multiple shots at windows inside Canberra airport. Police said nobody was injured during the shooting in a public area near the check-in counter Sunday afternoon. Ali Rashid Amon appeared Monday via video link at the Australian Capital Territory Magistrates Court. The 63-year-old from New South Wales state did not apply for bail and will remain jailed until the next hearing, September 5. Amon has yet to enter a plea. The incident prompted officials to temporarily evacuate the airport and ground planes for more than 3 hours. We have more updates lined up at the other side, but before that, let's take a look at what we have coming up next. Plastic bags are now a common fuel in the slums of Nairobi. Residents living in extreme poverty can no longer afford charcoal or firewood. Inflation is making their living conditions worse, as the fumes are not only bad for the environment but extremely dangerous for their health. Because of inflation, residents are resorting to plastic, also called gunny bags, to cook in spite of obvious health and environmental concerns. The living conditions, characterized by extreme poverty, have been hit by the soaring cost of fuels such as charcoal and gas. Now the sports update. Pablo Carreño Busta of Spain won the National Bank Open on Sunday, beating 8th-seeded Hubert Hurkacz of Poland 3-6-6-3-6-3. The first unseeded winner in the event since Argentina's Guillermo Canas in 2002, Busta won his 7th ATP Tour title and first Masters 1000 victory. In women's draw, Simona Halep won the National Bank Open on Sunday for the third time, beating Beatriz Haddad-Maia 6-3, 2-6-6-3 on Sunday. Halep from Romania also won the title in 2016 and 2018 when it was called the Rogers Cup. It's the 24th title of Halep's career and first since switching to Patrick Mouratoglou as her coach. And before we wrap up, the reminder of our top stories. Ruling Coalition's task force holding its meet this afternoon to discuss allocation of electoral seats for November 20 elections. Election Commission clarifies citizens reaching 18 years by November 19 can vote in upcoming elections. Those not registered in voters list, however, will be barred. Russia vows to expand bilateral relations with North Korea. Putin says the move would be in interests of both countries. And Pablo Carreño Busta rallies from a set down to claim his first Canadian Open title. Simona Halep beats Haddad-Maia to win third title. That's it for this edition of NTV News. We shall be back with the next one at 6 this evening. Till then, goodbye. Namaste.